Hello and welcome to This Week at the Movies. I'm Matt, and I'm looking at another packed week at the box office and on streaming for this holiday weekend. We are getting towards the end of the year, so we're going to get some things that are in limited release, some things that are in wide release, some things that are worth checking out, making a point to check out. And just another big week at the theaters. The first couple of weekends in December will be like that as well. We had a huge one that we just came off of, which included Wicked for Good. But I'm going to kick off today with one of the wide releases, and that is Eternity. This is an A24 film. It stars Miles Teller, Callum Turner, Elizabeth Olsen, who are basically in a love triangle in the afterlife. Yeah, you heard me correctly. We jump off with Larry and Joan. They've been married for 65 years. They're at a family gathering when all of a sudden Larry chokes and ends up in an eternal way station as his afterlife coordinator, played by Divine Joy Randolph, says. Larry returns to a younger state, looks an awful lot like Miles Teller, and begins to think about where he wants to spend eternity. You have about a week to decide. He is trying to figure out, doesn't really matter to him as long as he's there with his wife, Joan, but she hasn't made it there yet. So just about the time Larry is ready to pick a place and go and set things up, Joan finally arrives. She passed away. She looks a lot like her younger self, which is Elizabeth Olsen. She has her own afterlife coordinator, Ryan, played by John Early. And he is very excited to see her because for decades, he has been waiting for her to arrive on behalf of one of his previous clients, Luke, played by Callum Turner. Turns out Luke was Joan's first husband who died during the Korean War. She then met Larry, they married, they had a whole life together, and now she is forced with an almost unimaginable decision who she is going to choose for eternity. Is she going to be with the man that she built a life with and had many decades of love with, or the man who was a seemingly open possibility, who their time was cut short and they never had it? It's a very interesting spin. There's some funny moments. I particularly enjoyed Divine Joy Randolph and John Early, and their back and forth is a lot of fun. But there are some very deep and poignant and emotional moments. I thought this one was great. I'm giving it a thumbs up. It is one of the two wide releases that opened today, the other being Zootopia 2, which I have not yet seen. The animated film, this one more an adult film, probably a good date night film if you're looking for a holiday weekend date. Another option that can be a holiday weekend date night film, if it is playing near you, is Hamnet. This is one of the more anticipated big releases of the year. It opens in limited this week, goes a little bit wider by the time we hit next week. This one comes from Chloe Zhao, who was the director who gave us Nomadland, the Best Picture winner a couple of years ago, also did Marvel's The Eternals. She has a very unique and very sweeping visual style. This one based on the novel Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell, who worked on the screenplay here with Zhao. It focuses on William Shakespeare, but not the William Shakespeare that we know from his plays, the personal William Shakespeare here played by Paul Mescal, his love affair with Agnes, played by Jessie Buckley, whom he married and had 3 children, including a young son named Hamnet, who passes away tragically just before William Shakespeare comes up with perhaps one of his greatest literary achievements, the play Hamlet. This novel was built on a premise. What maybe inspired Shakespeare's work? Could it have been a link to a tragic death and loss in his own personal life? And that's kind of where O'Farrell takes off and does this spin on his life and his love and the creation of this great work of art. And that gets adapted here to the screen. Hamnet has been a big hit at the festivals. It is likely to be a major Best Picture contender. Some are calling it the best film of the year. I really liked it. I'm giving it a solid thumbs up. It is up in my top 5 for the year so far. I don't have it as number 1, but I liked it a lot. It starts a little bit slowly, but as it builds, there are some very beautiful and deep emotional crescendos, especially in the third act. Paul Mescal has a sequence where he is thinking about his son and breaking down that, I'm going to try not to break down thinking about it. It was just beautiful. Jessie Buckley, an incredible performance. It is becoming a stacked year for lead female performances. So I don't know if she will make it in, but she's definitely worthy of consideration. There are some beautiful, beautiful moments in this film. It is well worth seeking out. Again, it opened in limited release this today and this weekend. It'll get wider by the time we hit December 5th. Hamnet, well worth checking out. Another movie that opened in limited release. This is one of our foreign language entries. This one coming from the nation of Brazil. It is called The Secret Agent. This one, kind of a complex story set in 1977 Brazil, follows a man, Armando, who was a gifted researcher at a university, who runs afoul of the corruption in the government and ends up having to go on the run after his wife is killed, trying to find a way to get him and his son out to safety. Wagner Moura is the star here. He plays a couple of different roles. He goes by Marcelo while he's in hiding. It really picks up on the road during the season of Carnival. It's a very deadly and brutal time in the area. He's going, nearly 100 people have already been killed during the celebration. There's a great deal of corruption in the government and in the local police force. He's found a place to hide with other like-minded survivors who are just trying to get away to safety. And this is really about his journey, both in his temporary post at a records depot, where he's trying to find traces and information about a mother that he hardly ever knew, and trying to make it out alive. And it is a very fascinating journey. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, a little bit on the long side. There are some languorous sequences. It really takes his time building this world, but there are some incredible moments and some incredible performance moments from Moura. I really liked him. He's up there among my favorite lead actor performances this year. Another crowded field. The acting field felt like it was a little slow getting going, but we are really hitting our stride here toward the end of the year, and there are going to be some very difficult decisions and races. But this one, if you like these international stories, last year's entry from Brazil, I'm Still Here, ended up getting a Best Picture nomination, earned a Best Actress nomination. There was a lot to like about it. I think this film is different, but equally as powerful, tells an interesting story, and is worth seeking out. So I'm giving that one a thumbs up as well. Another movie about a father kind of in the midst of grief, trying to get over some things, is The Thing with Feathers, which is supposed to open in limited release starting this Friday. It wasn't a Wednesday drop, but it's supposed to be coming out. This movie from Dylan Southern, based on the novel by Max Porter. It focuses on a father who just recently lost his wife. That's played by Benedict Cumberbatch. He's trying to be a dedicated father to his two boys, but at the same time, he is literally running into a manifestation of his grief that takes the form of a crow and sounds an awful lot like David Thewlis when it is talking to him. A very interesting way to approach this material and to approach this journey when you're talking about grief and trying to get over grief and loss. Benedict Cumberbatch, a very talented actor. There were some good moments here. There are some good moments from him, some very worthy performance moments, but it didn't quite work for me as a film. I'm giving this one a thumbs neutral. There were things that I liked about it, but it doesn't quite all come together in a satisfying way for me. A big swing, an interesting swing from Southern, kind of his first big scripted feature. He had done a lot of music videos and a music documentary, so branching into new territory. That's all laudable and very interesting, and a decent directorial, feature directorial debut, but just doesn't quite click all the way through for me. You may feel different. It's definitely a good bit of catharsis in the story. Last one I'm going to talk about is one that hits streaming on Netflix this Friday. You may be all ginned up tonight for the release of Stranger Things. If you are, I did a video earlier today that's on the channel about my top 5 episodes of Stranger Things, so you can check that out. But if you're looking for something of a movie, this Friday we are getting The Left-Handed Girl. This is another film that will be in the international competition, the official entry from Taiwan. It's about a single mother and her 2 daughters who relocate to Taipei and try to carve out a living there. The script was co-written by Sean Baker, who did last year's Best Picture winner Anora. This one directed by Shi Ting-Su. I hope I pronounced that correctly. A very beautiful little slice of life film capturing kind of the life there in Taipei and capturing the story of these three characters, a mother, a couple of daughters, their grandmother, their extended family, kind of as they try to work out life and overcome some struggles. Just some very beautiful and moving moments. I thought this one worked pretty well. Not a bad little international feature one. If you are not crazy about subtitles, one nice thing for next Netflix is they do often offer dubbed versions. I think this one probably will as well, but clocks in about an hour and 45 minutes, a very easy watch and very moving, especially in the third act, which has some kind of crazy climaxes. I'm going to give this one a mild thumbs up. I enjoyed it for what it is, and I think it is worth checking out. Well, that was a lot of movies again that we're running through. It feels like every week we're going to have, 3 to 6, maybe 7 options. And it's just going to be that way all the way to the end of the year. Just a lot of stuff flying out there and going on. But hopefully you make time to find one of these movies in the theaters. Really enjoyed Eternity and Hamnet and The Secret Agent, the latter two, which are in limited release. You can check out The Left-Handed Girl on Netflix, where it streams on Friday. Netflix continuing to just have some big movie drops every week. They're going to have another big one next week in Jay Kelly, which I'll be talking about. And in 2 weeks, Wake Up Dead Man, which I've seen. And if you're a Rian Johnson fan, you will really enjoy. So I'll be talking about these as they continue their rollout. Wake Up Dead Man going into some theaters in limited release starting this weekend. If you get a chance to see it, well worth checking out. I'll have more of a full review when it hits Netflix for December 12th. But until then, we'll see you at the movies.